When I come to school, I feel inspired and I feel happy with my friends, and I don't really want to leave.
I feel like the goals for everyone is to be like the best person you can be, try to get the best grades as possible, have the best behavior you can.
It's just like the environment around us. It makes you a better person.
I think what's special about Bloomfield Hills Schools is a sense of community.
The schools look really friendly, which is pretty easy to feel comfortable.
No matter where you come from, who you are as a person, you just feel included.
At the end of the day, like, it's our home, and I think all the teachers treat the school and the kids in the school like a home and like a family.
They don't just care if you get an A or if you get a B. They actually care about your well-being. They want you to excel as a student. But at the same time, they're not holding your hand.
They want you to understand why you want to do this.
Our classes aren't okay, sit and learn. It's very interactive.
We're in groups and we're doing partner work.
The level of care and the level of learning and the level of creativity has been outstanding in ways that I couldn't have even imagined.
They really encourage you to step outside your box and do other things that you wouldn't be used to or work with other people that you wouldn't be used to.
Before I went here, I never really thought of being an engineer, but I had the chance to do tech, and I realized that was a lot of fun.
Before I took my Intro to Agriculture class, I didn't know anything about being outside.
We have a farm for the Bloomfield Hills Schools.
Being outside with animals just opens your mind.
At the Nature Center, we see animals, trees, leaves. We're focusing on how animals adapt to their environment.
Our district keeps super up to date with technology.
We're working with equipment that they work with in the real world. It's state of the art, it's top notch, and I think that that's helped me become very prepared for my future. We here have a very unique opportunity of being able to harness our individual talents.
I don't think most schools have radio stations, do they?
Nature Center and the Bowers Farm.
Investment Club.
BHS TV News.
Global Champions.
Jazz Band.
Water Sport Alliance.
Black Student Alliance.
Indian Student Alliance.
Gym, music, art,
Soccer, football, baseball,
swimming, volleyball, and diving.
Future Farmers of America.
Math, Montathlon,
Student Ambassadors Program.
Cross country and track.
Sailing team.
Environmental club.
Theater.
Food club.
Women's Empowerment Club.
The clubs get you with other people that you wouldn't normally hang out with.
These outlets have kind of helped me decide the career path that I want to go into. I do want to be a broadcast journalist.
I want to be a doctor.
I was thinking of becoming an investment banker.
I want to major in animal science and eventually have my own dairy farm.
I really can't decide if I want to be a professional soccer player or a teacher.
Whatever you want to do, you're important. You have so many things to be able to actually become what you want to be and be able to love your job and love your life and still be successful.
Bloomfield Hills Schools have really developed me as a learner and a person.
They push you and push you and push you to be the best possible person.
It's all about building your character to be able to go out in life and do good things.
I love Bloomfield Hills Schools. I love Bloomfield Hills Schools. It's really fun.
It's a really good learning community, and it's a lot of fun.
Good evening. Welcome to Incoming Kindergarten Information Night. My name is Keith McDonald, and I'm the interim superintendent here at Bloomfield Hills Schools. And whether this is your first child coming into our school system or you have multiple little kiddos running around, we want to welcome you to the BHS family. Before we get into our program, I want to take a small bit of time here. I want you to look around the room. Look at the people around you, in front of you, behind you. These are the faces of the parents and the guardians of your child's new best friend, their classmates, their teammates. Dads, close your ears. It's their homecoming date. These are also your new friend group. As your kids go through school, we want you to be engaged, be part of their education, be part of the school communities that you are in. Look around again. Now picture your neighbor with a little bit more gray hair, Those of you that are looking at your spouse, that's not fair. That's what you're going to look like maybe in June of 2037 when we bring this group back together again at high school graduation. Yeah, I know, 2037, it hurts. But we don't want to rush. We don't want to rush through. This is an awesome experience for you and even more so for your child. And we're going to go through a bunch of information for you tonight. Next year, you'll be enrolling in one of our 4 kindergarten communities. We have, with the bond, we reconfigured our school district, and we now have 4 K-5 schools that you see up here that will lead into 2 6-8 schools, North Hills and South Hills, into 1 high school. Our Eastover Eagles and our Way Wildcats will transition into North Hills, and our Coding Cubs and Lone Pine Lions will transition over to South Hills Middle School. And go ahead, next slide, please. As your students enter next year, they'll be entering some beautiful kindergarten classrooms. With the support of the community, we were able to do remarkable work in this area. All 4 schools have brand new kindergarten wings. They are amazing educational settings. And because your kids are kindergartners, they're coming in at the most perfect time. They're going to be able to experience these new classrooms next year, and then over the next 2 summers, we'll be doing work in the rest of the 1st through 5th grade classrooms. So by the time they get into the 1st grade, they're going to be in basically a brand new classroom as well and get to experience that all the way through. So excellent timing on your part, Mom and Dad. Go ahead, next slide. While I'm sure you're all excited about the classroom spaces, your kids, though, are probably more excited about the playgrounds. We have new playgrounds throughout our community. We encourage you to bring your kids out there on the weekends and the evenings. Let them experience what these playground structures are. They're amazing. I know my kids, I brought them up here once. They absolutely love them. Go ahead, next slide, please. We're going to hear from a number of administrators here today, both from central office and each of our building principals. But before I turn it over to the next individual who's going to speak, I want to introduce a couple people real quick. First, with us today, we have our board secretary, Carolyn Noble. And we have our board president, Megan Hill. Just want to take an opportunity to thank both of them for coming out here tonight. I know Carolyn maybe has a little bit more personal reason to be here tonight, and she's going to have a little kindergartner in here next year as well. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Todd Bidlack. Mr. Bidlack is our Assistant Superintendent of Learning Services. Mr. Bidlack.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here this evening. I am Todd Bidlack, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Learning Services, and I also happen to be a former elementary principal. So I know firsthand what an exciting time this is for your little ones and your family, and also the experience and joy of the laughter that your kids bring into our buildings each and every day, how it just brings life to our buildings. It's been a while since I've attended kindergarten information night as a parent, but it sure does seem like it was just yesterday, and as Mr. McDonald said, we certainly don't want to rush this, but it does go by quickly. As you heard from Mr. McDonald also, it is an exciting and unique time to be entering Bloomfield Hills Schools as a kindergarten student. The recent bond allowed us to build 20 new kindergarten classrooms throughout the district and have them ready for your kids. Our program offers a strong blend of academic focus with social development. Our kindergarten teachers are very intentional about how they shape a community of learners, build wonder and excitement in the classroom, and teach our students how to be explorers of the world. Our programming is designed to support a careful blend of academics and play-based learning that will foster your child's social and emotional development. Next slide, please. Of course, all of this is done with a focus on relationships. Bloomfield Hills offers an engaging curriculum that builds a very strong sense of belonging and a culture of caring within our classrooms. Inside our kindergarten classrooms is a place to develop bonds and build friendships. There is a lot to learn about other people, and there's no better place to do that than in a kindergarten. Our teachers will foster an environment that builds relationships while also finding a way to connect with each individual child. Our classrooms have ample space for instruction and to foster community, and will be a very welcoming environment. Next slide. Our portrait of a learner helps articulate our philosophy that focuses on developing a child's intellectual character and their disposition towards having the ability to focus and demonstrate self-control, being able to think about the world around them and understanding the perspective of others, communicating and making connections, and being a critical thinker and taking on challenges. There's a lot to learn in kindergarten, and we certainly are excited to have them join us next fall. Up next is our Director of Elementary Education, Kimberly Hempton.
Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege to spend time with you this evening. Thanks for muscling out in the snow to spend a bit of time with us, hearing about our programming. We're going to dip into a day in the life of a kindergarten student here shortly. But we really do appreciate the privilege to partner with you as your child's first teacher. The role that you play is incredibly important, not only now, but as Mr. McDonald said, over the next 13-year journey that you have with us here in Bloomfield Hills Schools. So thank you. The dispositions here that Mr. Bidlack referenced, we recognize that these are heady goals, and we put these goals in front of ourselves collectively as a Bloomfield Hills community and think about the age of the children that we serve each step along the way. So while these are not end of kindergarten aims, these might be things that we're still working on as adults. They might be things that our seniors, as they exit graduation and think about their lives after high school here, are also still considering their impact on the world and the way they grapple with challenges. Some families may elect to start their kindergarten experience in developmental kindergarten, and that would mean that they are the class of 2038. That's thinking about kindergarten standards stretched over a 2-year period of time to allow for increased confidence and competence with some of those academic and social skills, as well as to consider how the nature of play, the learning of play, really folds out in a classroom that bridges either for children who've not had a formal schooling experience yet, or for children who may be developing into those competencies or expectations, if you will. So as you think about our math, our reading, our writing, science and social sciences, the unified arts, and the social engagements that our kids will have here at school, our principals are going to walk us through how that day moves in our elementary settings. You'll know that what they're describing to you applies to each of these classrooms. We really think about this as our kindergarten cohort, but there is a developmental kindergarten classroom in each one of our 4 elementary schools. And the entry ages we'll look at the end, those are all the same. But we really do want to point out to you that if you're thinking about that extra year, you're not quite sure, developmental kindergarten is available for you as that pathway. So Mr. Phelps at Conan Elementary, I think, is going to kick off for us our thinking about reading and writing, or as school communities call those disciplines, English language arts. Dr. Phelps?
Good evening. It is truly an exciting time for your family as you begin to plan your child's kindergarten year. I can say confidently that the leadership you meet tonight care deeply about children and will not only tend to their academic needs, but prioritize their social health and wellness. They'll be loved from the moment they enter our buildings. You'll hear from each of us as we share some insight into programming that makes Bloomfield Hills Schools the premier district in Oakland County. DK and kindergarten promise to be a magical time of growth in regards to reading and writing. We believe in an approach that provides each child the opportunity to reach their maximum potential. Small group instruction, coupled with responsive teacher-led guidance, will open a world of exploration. From phonemic awareness to beautifully written chapter books, your children have much to look forward to. On the portrait of a learner, children spend time inquiring about the world around them through many read-alouds and partner-based writing activities. Through small group work and partner shares, students engage in kind and respectful dialogue, always guided by caring adults and teachers. In our math programming, when engaging in mathematics instruction, DK and K students are provided real-world opportunities to make connections. From counting their favorite foods to exploring tallies with charts and tables, math will empower students to solve, innovate, and communicate as they find examples of math in everyday life. Again, we believe that the heart of our work involves a workshop model with small group instruction and responsive data-driven decisions, helping students achieve their potential. And through Portrait of a Learner, through shared hands-on math experiences, students grow in understanding multiple perspectives while working with others through problem-solving activities. Our math programs help teach students about the world around them while being engaged citizens, taking action through their elementary years. At this time, I'd like to welcome Principal Andy Geniak and Associate Principal Sarah Smith-Conlin of Eastover Elementary.
See, Robert has a whole sheet. I have a blue Post-it note, so it maybe talks a little bit about who we are. But first of all, as I'm blinded by the light up here, I'm really curious. How many of you, this is your oldest child? All right. I remember sitting in that seat 14 years ago. I have a daughter who's a freshman in college and a son who's a sophomore in high school. And I can tell you what Mr. McDonald shared, that is going to be your experience. We hope that's your experience, that looking around and knowing the bonds that you're going to form with the people that are strangers sitting 3 seats away right now become some of your best friends. Doesn't matter if you're the parent who had kids a little later in life or the parent who had kids early in life. Your kids unite you regardless of your age, and I think that is just such a powerful thing. I'm a little off script because that's not science, but it's the reality of what we do. I think that Robert and everyone up here has touched upon that. We're here to care for your kids. That's the number one thing that we do. So I know that myself and my colleague, Sarah Conlin here, we just appreciate the gift of having our kiddos come through that door each day at Eastover, as do our colleagues over here at the other 3 elementaries. So you're in good hands. You're in really, really good hands with the staff that we have who, number one, care about kids. And then we talk about learning. And it's interesting the way these slides are set up because it really does call out science and then social studies and the social sciences, where the work we're doing in the district is really, when you look at that portrait of a learner, it's all about, and you can jump to the next slide, it's really about inquiry. It's really about thinking about the world around them, even at the age of 5. I know right now you're thinking, like, how do you get my kid to think they don't even know how to, like, pour the milk into the bowl of cereal type of thing. But the reality is we approach problems from a social studies lens and a science lens kind of at the same time, integrating those 2 disciplines together. I was talking with one of my kindergarten teachers today, and she was saying, you know, as we're digging into light and things, we talk about with the kids, there's a problem. The kids are too hot on the playground. What can we do? And so as they're studying concepts of light and whatnot, they dig into that to try to come up with a solution while teaching the science concepts. So it's really more of a problem-based approach to learning. It's really conceptual, even with our little ones. And I heard that progression over time. I was watching that today with a 5th grade band concert that we had. And these little first graders are sitting there watching it as well. And I'm thinking, gosh, in 4 years, that's them. And those 5th graders in 4 years, they're high school freshmen. Wow. It's just those moments where you realize that progression of time and the growth that occurs in these years that you entrust your kids to us. So as I mentioned, social studies as well. It's a lot about who I am, who is my family, building awareness of ourselves in the world. Pretty big concepts for these little people as their world is definitely broadened. What's amazing is the hands-on learning and experiential learning that will occur in these as they grapple with complexities and whatnot. It's neat. You'll see the kindergarten out on the playground exploring, doing a nature walk on the grounds of any one of our schools. really kind of focusing in on things that have always been around them that they've never paused to think about and understand, and their teachers will guide them on those experiences. And then finally, when you look at, if you go to the next slide, we have a farm in our school district. I've been in this district for 24 years, and whenever I think about that, I'm just blown away, because what school district in Metro Detroit has their own farm where your kindergartners will visit the farm next year. Developmental kindergarten does a field trip once a month to the Farm or Nature Center. Our kindergartners, I think, take at least 3 trips to either the Farm or Nature Center. For that hands-on experiential learning that is really designed around the curriculum of kindergarten. So it puts them right into a place where they can dig into what the nature. I believe one of the trips is a visit to the cabin that's at the Nature Center. Again, not only do we have a farm, we have a nature center in our district. So incredible opportunities that lie ahead, not just in kindergarten, obviously, with what's to come next year, but in their 13 years as they travel through the grade levels and buildings here in Bloomfield Hills. It's my pleasure to hand it over now to Way Elementary Principal Michelle Fibke-Lang.
I don't have a sticky note. I have 2 pages here. But good evening. Yes, Michelle Fibke-Lang, proud principal of Way Elementary School. Thank you for being here, and it's so nice to see so many familiar faces. The Bloomfield Hills District strongly believes in educating the whole child. We are lucky to offer our students experiences in the unified arts. Students will attend art, physical education, music, media, and the Ingenuity Lab. In art, our students will have the opportunity to experiment enthusiastically with art materials and investigate the ideas presented to them through visual art instruction. Creation is at the heart of this instruction. Students learn to work with various tools, processes, and the media. Our kindergarten students find much joy and excitement as they make and share their artwork. In physical education, our students will practice locomotive skills and non-locomotive skills. They learn to follow directions and how to be a good sport. Additionally, they learn how to collaborate at a very young age and work as a team. Visiting the Media Center, which is one of my favorite places to visit, is a wonderful homeschool connection. Our kindergartners will be exposed to many different reading genres, literacy activities, and they can access to technology. In the Ingenuity Lab, our kindergarten students are immersed in STEAM topics to cultivate essential dispositions and habits of mind that are the hallmark of engineers, scientists, inventors, and innovators. And you saw a lot of that happening in the movie at the very beginning, the video, and also through our farm and nature center. Through these hands-on collaborative approach, we empower our young learners to become inquisitive, resilient, creative, and compassionate individuals, preparing them for a future where adaptability and problem-solving skills are paramount. In music, our students will explore different musical instruments and learn proper instrumental techniques like sound, pitch, melody, and rhythm while expressively singing and playing. The Unified Arts classes have proven over and over to be some of their favorite classes. The next slide, please. Oh, you're there. Although we develop all dispositions throughout our school day, our Unified Arts strongly support 2 dispositions of Portrait of a Learner: understanding multiple perspectives and grappling with complexities. I would like to now introduce Dr. Mary Hilberry, the current principal of Lone Pine until the end of this month, and Mr. Ort, the new interim principal of Lone Pine, and a congratulations to Dr. Hilberry on her retirement.
Michelle, I think you're taller than me. Wow. Okay, so I am Dr. Mary Hilberry, and as Michelle just shared with you, My last day is tomorrow. So you're probably wondering, why am I up here talking to you when I am leaving in a day? Well, first of all, Mr. Ort will be taking over for me. He is the proud father of 3 kiddos. And you'll be seeing him at the kindergarten orientation in the spring at Lone Pine. It was important to me to come tonight, though, because I've been a principal in Bloomfield a long time. This is 20 years for me. And 15 of those years, I've also been a parent in the district. And I know that some of my colleagues have always already addressed the, look around the room. These folks are going to be taking your kids for play dates and sleepovers, and they're going to be, the parents of your kids' prom date, and all of that is true. It feels like 2 minutes ago that my own son, who has come all the way through Bloomfield Hills, he started in the infant care program and currently is a freshman in this beautiful high school with all of the amazing opportunities it offers. But I have a very powerful, very acute memory of taking Oliver to school for his first day of kindergarten and walking up to that doorway of Mr. M's classroom, Mr. Mariansky's classroom, holding his hand, and now he's 6 feet, but at the time he's right down here, right where I can put my hand on the top of his head, and I'm holding his chubby little fingers, how they hold your hand like this, and I had to let him go, right? And making that choice, I'm so excited about it, and I'm so passionately geeked about the experience he's going to have as a kindergartner and all of the wonderful experiences he's going to have in Bloomfield Hills Schools, and my faith in the system and my wish that he had the opportunity to work with every single teacher in this district for all the amazing things that they bring to the table. But that doesn't mean, even as the principal of the building where he was attending, that it didn't, you feel it, right? There's going to be tears, there's going to be smiles, there's going to be tears when you go out in the parking lot and get in the car. It's just a very big moment to send your kid off to kindergarten, and we get it. We get it. We are here for you. Our teachers are going to love your kids. I know each one of you is here tonight because you are truly passionate about your kids having the best educational opportunity available. You would not be out here on a January night stomping through the slush, rushing through dinner, or hiring a babysitter, or doing whatever you had to do to make it here tonight if you did not care deeply about your kids' opportunities. We are presenting to you here what your kids' day is going to look like, what kind of rich experience are they going to have as learners. But we also want you to know how much we're going to care about them as human beings, and that's a big part of what we do in Bloomfield Hills Schools. You hear a lot on the news about SEL and, is that a good thing or a bad thing for your kids? But let me tell you what SEL looks like. It's teaching them to have empathy and compassion for others. It's teaching them to have integrity. It's helping them to make good choices, to give other people grace, to learn the skills of forgiveness, to learn how to resolve conflicts. All of those skills are life skills that are going to benefit them as individuals, going to benefit you as a family, and you're going to be amazed at the little people your children grow up into. That's going to continue throughout their years here. All of that is important, that daily coaching. We know children are going to make mistakes. They're going to get angry and they're going to push somebody down on the playground. We're going to help them develop a better way to deal with conflict and figure out their issues. We aren't going to punish them for their mistakes. We're going to help them work through and learn a better skill set to get beyond it. We're there to support your children and help grow them into great people. With that said, I'm not only up here to go all mom on you. I am up here to talk to you a little bit about the supports and services that we also have available in our district. All of our learners are unique. All of them come to us with different needs, and we have a very robust system of support for kiddos. For our English language learners, we have English language support, a full-time position in each of our buildings to support those students. We have a very broad and deep repertoire of special educational staff and services available in our building, from speech and language to occupational therapy to physical therapy to resource room support. And we have also general ed supports for students who might not qualify for special education but need a little nudge or a little assistance, short term or even sometimes a little bit longer term, to catch up to the skills that they need to be successful in school, things like reading recovery or small group intervention. We are here for you. We are here to answer your questions, support you along the pathway. We want to be your partners. So please, if I encourage you to do anything, it's to communicate and to be a partner with your children's teachers, with your children's administrators, and even with our central office administrators. We all want to do the best for your kids. And the opportunities, and I'm telling you again as a mom, you're going to be so happy with the experience your kiddos have here in Bloomfield. It's really a great place to raise your child. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're almost in the home stretch here. I hope that you have really felt both the excitement and the commitment and the passion that this group of educators on the stage here have around both partnering with you and greeting your children into their first official school experience. We really do carry a great deal of pride in what we do. We also continue trying to stretch ourselves and outgrow ourselves year after year in terms of the opportunities that we are able to consider for children and the way that we capitalize on our curiosities as educators and utilize the curiosities of the children in our classrooms to kind of keep that growing exponentially. We're a little over 7 months away from the first day of school. And there are a few challenges that I have for you along the way. I know that kindergarten isn't where curiosity is born. Your children are already naturally talking with you about a number of things. I encourage you to keep capitalizing on that, please. Keep asking them, what makes you say that? Tell me more about that. I wonder. Listen to what they have to say back to you. I know in the busy of life, sometimes that can get a little bit lost, but those are really some of the key foundational pieces in that conversation that not only help our children practice turn-taking, but also recognize that their voices have power, that their inquiry, that the questions that they have and are wondering about matter and are important, and that we value kind of continuing to follow those paths of thinking. So that's a great way to be ready for kindergarten. Reading every day, taking those walks through the book, having conversation with one another about maybe even a movie that's been on TV or a show or a book or a song. There's a list here of things that we'd encourage you to think about as you move through the grocery store or maybe at a trip to the farm. Things that keep small fingers moving are a really great benefit. So that might be Play-Doh, that might be practicing zipping coats, any small pieces that can be manipulated, trying to open and close those Ziploc bags. Small pieces that small fingers manipulate help build strength so that when we're in a writing workshop, for example, a child can keep pushing the pencil. Turn-taking is another important element for all of us, really, but 5-year-olds particularly have a lot to teach us about turn-taking, and whether that's games or exchange of idea. These are all things that you're doing at home that we really encourage you to keep putting value and priority on, because these are the things that help children show up in the classroom among several other learners sitting next to them on the carpet, and then they're prepared and ready to go. They're like, oh, I know how this goes. So we're going to be getting ready for kindergarten from now until that Tuesday after Labor Day. And next slide, please. And in addition to thinking about the way that our children grow and develop and learn over time, we're also thinking about some decisions that we'll be making as adults. One of those is to consider developmental kindergarten or kindergarten. You'll see that if your child is 5 by September 1st, 2024, they're eligible for both programs. If they have a birth date that falls within that fall window, September to December, you might want to take a look at some of the developmental markers, if you will, of your child and think about if developmental kindergarten is appropriate for them. But a birth date is not the only factor for that decision by any means. And certainly children with those fall birth dates, I have one of my children falls within that range, and started kindergarten just great. So it really is an individualized decision that you're making there. I encourage you to talk with your preschool teacher or a pediatrician, but you're thinking about what is that best first step for your child. Ultimately, you know your child best, and you're considering their development and what you know about them to date, kind of a gut feeling as well that we have as parents. So in addition to that, I'm going to get some registration things going. I think you might have seen that on the slide. We, as you know, they're at each elementary school already. Thank you very much. Next. Out in the atrium tonight, we have information around our before and after school care programs. Those are offered at each of our sites, as well as our food service hot lunch program has a table there, and transportation is available in certain neighborhoods surrounding your neighborhood school. So you can get some information. We may have some maps, but if you'd like detailed information related to your address, we'll share with you how you might communicate with us back to get some detailed information about those things. Routes would not yet be available. That's something that's really worked out through the summer as enrollment levels and we know where students are getting picked up along the way. Those things become more finalized a little bit closer to school, but certainly if you're eligible for transportation, that would be a quick question that could get answered for you. So the next big thing that I think is important for you to get on your calendar is attending orientation with your child. And that would be if you're interested in developmental kindergarten or kindergarten, either way, we're welcoming you to your school community. You'll meet your teachers, not your actual teacher, by the way, I should preface that. You'll meet our kindergarten team and lots of other educators that are there to support your child. That event will start at about 9:30, but you'll get more information from your school following that registration process and our district communication blasts. Next slide, please. There's, as you're wrapping up visits to the doctor, hearing, dental things, or I'm sorry, hearing and vision that you may already be familiar with, we wanted to make sure that you are aware that there is also a new criteria regarding dental screening. So there's some information in the packets related to that, but that will be across the kindergarten school year a new requirement in the state of Michigan. Next slide. We do offer tuition for families that might be interested in Bloomfield Hills Schools that sit outside of our attendance area. And this gives you a little bit about that enrollment process, and tuition for the coming school year is $13,000. Next slide. We landed. Thank you for your time tonight. I think this really says it all. I said it at the start. You really are, as your child's first teacher, there's no one better for us to partner with in meeting the very individualized needs of your child as they enter school. And our staff are eager and equipped to do just exactly that. There's nothing more dynamic than a kindergarten classroom, and our kindergarten educators are really masterful at meeting each child as they come in the door, whether that was a hard morning with a sleeve in the milk or whether they are ready to run, with all that could possibly be accomplished in a 7-hour school day. Our teachers are absolutely masterful at meeting those needs, and I know that you'll really appreciate meeting them and trusting your children to them. And we've got an email set up here for the questions you may have, a phone number that you can reach out to. Our school PTOs and some other organizations are also out in the atrium for your information this evening, and we really appreciate the time that you've shared with us. Thank you very much for your confidence and participation with Bloomfield Hills Schools. We're grateful. Thank you very much.